चढ़दीकला टाइम टीवी नॉर्थ अमेरिका देख रहे सारे दर्शकों का वर्ल्ड पंजाबी न्यूज़ ਦੇ स्वागत है। मैं थोड़े नाल रिदम ते हुण खबरां विस्तार नाल। फैडरल चोणां विच एनडीपी पार्टी वालों भी काफी जोर लाया जा रहा है ते इसे चोण प्रचार दौरान सरदार जगमीत सिंह क्यूबक विच पार्टी उम्मीदवार रूथ एलेन दे हक विच प्रचार करन लई पहुंचे, जिथे उन्हां मौजूदा हालातां उत्ते चिंता प्रगटाई। उन्होंने कहा कि जेकर जस्टिन ट्रूडो सरकार ने कोरोना काल विच लोकां दी मदद कीती हुंदी तां अजिहा माड़ा हाल ना हुंदा। नाल ही उन्हां अपनी पार्टी दी एक वैबसाइट भी लॉन्च कीती।
So I just want to say I'm so excited that we're going to welcome again as a candidate Ruth Ellen Brosseau. I've had the incredible honor of working with Ruth Ellen. She has shown her passion, her incredible perseverance, working so hard for the people of Berthier-Masconoget. She's also someone who you can count on to fight for you when times are tough. She knows the challenges that are faced by people in Berthier-Masconoget. She understands the importance of agriculture and fighting for investments in healthcare, particularly mental health in this difficult time. So if you want someone who's going to make life easier, if you want someone who's going to make life more affordable, take on the housing crisis so you can find a home that's affordable. Make sure we invest in healthcare so you don't have to worry about the cost of medication. You need to vote, and you need to vote for the NDP. And we've got a website, howyouvote.ca. You can check it out. It explains how to vote, and it is easy. You can vote in person. You can vote by mailing in your ballot. All that is explained on the website, so definitely check it out. I'll start off, and then I'll pass the mic over to my colleague. We're seeing a lot of young people that are fed up with the rigged system. They feel like they're seeing billionaires go to space. Billionaires keep on getting a free ride. Companies like Amazon make record profits in the pandemic and don't pay virtually any tax here. They feel that's unfair. They feel that they're frustrated. They keep on trying as hard as they can to do everything right, but they can't get ahead. It's hard to afford a home. The bills keep on going up. And really all this has happened with 6 years of Justin Trudeau in power, and so they're saying that's not good enough. And we're showing them that there's a better way forward. We can invest in people. We can lift people up. And I'm excited about what that means. There are people that really believe that better is possible, and we don't have to be stuck with the Liberals or the Conservatives, and we're feeling that on the ground here in Quebec. And with the announcement of someone like Ruth Ellen Brosseau, it really gives our campaign a boost because people remember what they had with Ruth Ellen and how she made life better and how she fought for people. So we're really excited about that.
मास्किनोंगा ਲਈ एनडीपी उम्मीदवार रूथ एलेन ने अपनी सरकार ਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਲਿਸੀਆਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਕੇਂਦਰਿਤ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਤੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਲਿਸੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਵਾਰ ਸਭ ਨੇ ਮਨ ਬਣਾ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਨੁਮਾਇੰਦਗੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਇਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਉਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਜੋਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਏ।
There's the expression, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. We've always had liberal or conservative governments, and I think this time around people are really excited and they're going to be more open to an NDP government in this upcoming election, the 20th September. We have amazing candidates here. I'm really excited to present Edzis, Valérie, and Alexis. I'm really excited to work forward. I'm not used to speaking English anymore. I'm sorry. I'm really excited to working with them on the ground. These people are fighters. And I remember in 2011, I think people kind of remember my story, I was a paper candidate because people thought there was no chance for the NDP in Berthier-Masconoget. That was at the beginning of the campaign. And things change in campaigns. And what I've felt on the ground for the past 2 years is people are frustrated, people are hurt, people are looking for solutions. And in Parliament, the NDP has a proven track record of making lives better for people all across Canada, just not in Quebec, all across Canada. So I'm really excited to be a part of this team. I know there's going to be momentum. I'm really hoping that people are open and are going to be supporting us. I have an amazing feeling that this is going to be different this time around. So I'm looking forward to working with these candidates on the ground and all across Quebec.
उधर मैनीटोबा के प्रीमियर ब्रायन पलिस्टर वालों अपने ओहदे तो इस्तीफा देने का ऐलान किया गया है। उन्होंने इस ऐलान तो बाद आम लोग काफी नाराज नजर आ रहे ने। दरअसल लोग नाराज ने कि कोरोना वायरस के दौर में उन्होंने कारगुजारी काफी निराशाजनक रही है, जिस कारण उन्होंने काबलियत उत्ते लगातार सवाल उठ रहे हैं।
It's an indication that he really wants, that he means what he says, that he doesn't want to be a part of it. He wants to be a neutral party. He doesn't want to appear to be influencing it in any regard. But I think most importantly, it illustrates that he wants this process to move along.
I think he could have stayed on as the premier, just told people that he's being neutral and the different candidates who are coming forward. So I think that he could have stayed around for that. At the same time, I think he increasingly felt uncomfortable being the leader of the party and the premier while there was the leadership race going on.
Yes,
Absolute elation. Goodbye.
Hopefully he's going to Costa Rica.
And not returning.
I just felt that he had done a good job, and he said things that maybe weren't comfortable with everybody, but he said things that maybe needed to be said.
Honestly, I'm happy that he's resigned, because I think his response to the pandemic and his comments about Indigenous people have been, extremely insulting and insensitive.
I can't say I think this is bad news.
A lot of poor decisions made, and hopefully we'll get a new direction in our province.
I think his glass is full, and he may need that time for himself.
We'll see who's coming up next, but I think it's a positive, and hopefully the party moves on to something better.
Take care. Stay well.
Say right now the front runner has been Heather Stephenson, mostly because she was member of the Pallister cabinet. She held health and justice before that, and she had all those MLAs, her colleagues, standing with her at her announcement.
But I would have to say that Ms. Stephenson is the forerunner. She has ample experience in the political sphere. She appears to have quite significant backing within the Tory caucus, and I'm assuming within the party as well. And she's got extensive cabinet experience and extensive experience implementing new policies.
ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਆਤਮਘਾਤੀ ਹਮਲੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਘਾਤਕ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਕਾਰਨ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਫਗਾਨੀ ਲੋਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਿਕ ਮੈਂਬਰਾਂ ਲਈ ਕਾਫੀ ਚਿੰਤਤ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਮਦਦ ਦੀ ਗੁਹਾਰ ਲਗਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਅਫਗਾਨਿਸਤਾਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਿਕ ਮੈਂਬਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਲਦੀ ਤੋਂ ਜਲਦੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ।
Michael, it's been absolutely devastating for us. Afghans living in diaspora, we feel extremely helpless. We feel betrayed by the U.S. government. We feel a whole host of emotions. We are grieving with each other every time that we meet with our relatives. We grieve, we cry, we talk about Afghanistan because all of my relatives have lived through the Taliban. They have experienced atrocities committed by the Taliban. And for them, for my parents, it's trauma. It's PTSD when we talk about them. It's PTSD when they see it happen all over again to our people. So it's absolutely devastating. And what's even more devastating is that we feel very helpless from here. I wish we could do a lot of things for our people back home, but it's essentially the feeling of betrayal by the U.S. government and also the feeling of helplessness during this very, very tough times. 1000% for my parents. We have tried for my parents to stay away from what's happening there, to look into it too much, because for them, my mom just she gets very anxious and she just starts to cry, and she talks uncontrollably about her experiences back then, because at that time my dad was in the army and my mom was alone, and I feel it's important that I share my personal story so that Canadians can understand, what some of these refugees are going through. I was 6 years old when we crossed Afghanistan to Pakistan. My mom had 4 young children all by herself. And we literally walked from Afghanistan to Pakistan as refugees. And during that whole time, of course, I was young. I don't remember much of it, but I remember being in constant fear. So I cannot imagine my mom with 4 young children, the youngest being 30 days old, crossing the border while the Taliban were after us. I can't imagine the feeling that she would be feeling. So, of course, it's definitely triggering for my mom. It's definitely triggering for all of my community members that have gone through this, which are all my uncles, my aunts, my cousins who were super young under the regime. And they just come together and they can't talk about anything else other than what's going on in Afghanistan and how helpless they're feeling.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਵੱਲੋਂ ontario ਦੇ ਕੈਮਬ੍ਰਿਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੋਣ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਲਾਈਮੇਟ ਚੇਂਜ ਤੇ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ એનર્ਜੀ ਦਾ ਹੋਕਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾਅਵਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਲ 2025 ਤੱਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਬਦਲਾਅ ਕਰ ਦੇਵਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਲੈਕਟ੍ਰਿਕ ਕਾਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਭੰਡਾਰ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਇਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਪ੍ਰਪੋਜ਼ਲ ਦਿੰਦਿਆਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੁਭਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਭਰਪੂਰ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ।
Will be zero emission by 2035. To get there, we'll invest in made-in-Canada models, create more charging stations, and ensure that these vehicles are affordable. From the start of your day to the end, we've got a plan to keep our air clean and keep people voting. Now, there is a lot you can do in your everyday life to fight climate change. But let's be realistic. Over a quarter of Canada's emissions come from our oil and gas sector. We need the leadership of these industries to decarbonize our country. That's why we'll make sure oil and gas emissions don't increase and instead go down with achievable milestones every 5 years from now until Canada reaches net zero in 2050. And to ensure no one gets left behind, we'll invest $2 billion for workers and communities in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Newfoundland and Labrador so local economies can continue to prosper. We know people get it. We know people want their kids to have good jobs. So we'll be there to invest and help communities thrive in a transformed economy. Because our plan for climate, it's also a plan for jobs. My friends, together, we get to decide the future we want to build. For workers here and right across the country. For kids like Emily. And frankly, I don't even want to think about what happens if Aaron O'Toole were in charge. He has said it directly. He would go back to the Harper era of weak plans for climate and no plans for jobs. Canada lost a decade to the previous government. And after the progress we've made since, we can't lose the next 4 years too. Do you think that the worker looking for a job has time to wait? That the student who's taken to the streets will just sit by? Think about it. There is a generation of young people voting for the first time in this election who don't remember what the Stephen Harper era was like. You see everything that we've done as in the last 6 years as a baseline. And you know that we need to go further. I hear you. The sirens in the background may remind us that this is a climate emergency. That's why we will move faster and be bolder. Because as you remind me every single day, you as young people from coast to coast to coast, yes, this is an emergency, and no, half measures won't do.
ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਵਰਲਡ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਬੁਲੇਟਿਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੀ। ਹੋਰ ਤਾਜ਼ਾ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਟੀਵੀ ਨਾਰਥ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰਿਦਮ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਆਗਿਆ।